Yeah. And I think that would be wonderful. And
because all the rest of us are
they also will
expected to not, we're expected to
practice.
not endorse someone, the
Exactly.
committees, anybody on a committee or an executive
Yeah,
committee or
that's
anything.
the other thing I was going to say. Any of your local counties, the Henrico County, Chesterfield, Northumberland, Lancaster, Democratic County, they cannot endorse or appear to be endorsing
That's
one
right.
candidate.
To get to another subject, I was wondering if we could talk for a minute about the idea of a preordained candidate
Yeah,
and a
absolutely.
congressional campaign committee ordaining someone in January when six other people are running for the office, and that has a definite effect on fundraising. It has a definite effect on how people view the other campaigns and how serious the other campaigns are taken. Say a few words if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to correct something. When it's ordained in January, it was actually ordained well before the majority of candidates in this race actually entered. It was almost a year ago.
Oh, okay.
The DCCC, announced that they were essentially handpicking one candidate. And
Yeah.
it's not to say anything's wrong with that candidate. That's for voters to decide.
Yeah.
It is to say, should the scales be tipped in a primary? Because when I talk about accountability a lot on my campaign, that's a core tenet of what I'm running for. And that means being accountable within our own party. We don't get to call ourselves the Democratic Party if we refuse to have democratic elections in our primaries. The idea that, and just for anyone watching doesn't know, the DCCC is an extension of the DNC. That is your congressional committee. Their job is to recruit, train, have people run for office, and they have what's called a red to blue program where they pick key seats that are really valuable and really flippable and where resources should go to. That sounds really great on paper until they select a candidate a year before the primary elections.
Anti-democratic.
Well, it's anti-democratic, and there's two parts here. So they send out a lot of fundraising stuff saying, donate here and we'll divide it between these. I believe it's 11, it might be 12 now, red to blue seats that will have the most impact. Again, great on paper when we're really having to take back the House and
Yeah.
protect our democracy. Well, what they don't say though is, hey, there's other primary candidates too. They
Yeah.
don't say they only have a 40% rate of actually getting their red to blue candidates winning,
Right.
because they don't pick people who are going to be great winners. They pick people who will work for the Democratic Party, not for their people. And at the end of the day, we are a two-party system. You're going to align one way or another. But I know there are a lot of Republicans that do not align with Donald Trump and that do not align with Rob Whitman. They're Democratic representatives that way.
Yeah.
So we have to have that accountability within our own party too and say there are things, I can't say I wish Rob Whitman would stand up to his party and do what's best for his people instead of his party and what he's being told to do when we're trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's not right in any way. And I think it's very disingenuous when they're fundraising, when they're doing all this and saying, hey, this money's being spent when you donate. Groceries went up 40%. People are going into debt to pay groceries. Donate here and they're going to flip the seat and help you. But they're actually using that money to spend against candidates like me that aren't these ordained. And they would never want a candidate like me because I don't work for them.
Right.
They can't turn around and say, we spent $1 million against your opponents, and that is what they are doing.
Yeah.
So you could be the nominee. No,
Yeah.
you have to do this.
I
No, I
was
have to do
remarking
what the first district demands of me.
I was remarking earlier to someone about how much better it would be if they had that program, but only endorsed someone the day after the primary.
Yeah. And I think that would be wonderful. And
Because all the rest of us are
they also will
expected to not, we're
practice.
expected to not endorse someone, the
Exactly.
committees, anybody on a committee or an executive
Yeah.
committee or
That's
anything.
the other thing I was going to say. Any of your local counties, the Henrico County, Chesterfield, Northumberland, Lancaster, Democratic County, they cannot endorse or appear to be endorsing
That's
one
right.
candidate. So that's concerning that they're just not listening to what's happening on the ground. I think that's why they have a terrible success rate in the red to blue program. And
Yeah.
again, it doesn't mean these are bad candidates. It
Is this
doesn't.
do you think this is generational? Do you think this is part of the holdover from the old guard?
Yes. Yeah, I do. And I think you're seeing across the country in Democratic primaries that the candidates who are winning are the ones who show up, who are doing the work, not just spending $500,000 to get on cable TV. It's like, who the hell's even watching cable TV? I just got pulled about that. Like, yeah, no one watches cable TV.
Yeah.
So we have this old guard that they want the control. There's a way to win that you spend $500,000 on mailers and $500,000 on ads. You spend $1 million in Democratic primary, then you save everything else to go up in the general. And that's not working. We've seen that across the country. And I think that scares people. That scares consultants who get wealthy advising this. This scares everyone who then is kind of losing this control.
Yeah.
And you're having a new wave come in of leaders who really only owe anything. And I'm going to be honest, we see this on the Republican side too. The same movement and this fraction that is happening on the Democratic side, it is happening on the Republican side with younger voters too. People are tired of anointees that do not represent them. They are tired of representatives who serve corporations, who serve profits, and don't serve the people and don't know what it means to serve because they don't even bother showing up. They don't bother having town halls. They don't bother going into the rural areas that are traditionally red. Those people matter and need help too.